What does childhood look like when your family controls access to more than 260 billion barrels of oil, commands a sovereign wealth empire exceeding $1 trillion, and lives inside palaces the size of small cities? The sons of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman are not simply royal children. They are being raised inside one of the most powerful dynasties in modern history. Watch until the end, because we'll reveal the one asset that may matter far more than yachts, jets, or billions in inheritance. Inside, the $4 million square foot royal palace where the princes live. If you want to understand the world that Prince Salman, Prince Mashar, and Prince Abdulaziz are growing up in, you have to start with what their family casually calls home. And when I say home, we're not talking about a mansion, not even a palace in the normal sense, more like a small little royal residence quietly sitting in Riyadh, known as Yamama Palace. Small, of course, only in the sense that it spreads across roughly 4 million square feet, or about 70 football fields placed side by side. A cozy little place for raising future rulers. Constructing and maintaining a compound of this scale, with imported marble, gold-plated interiors, and custom architecture designed for royalty, easily represents several $1 billion in total construction and infrastructure value. But for the Saudi royal family, that's just the starting point. Because Al Yamama isn't just built for comfort, it's built for power. Inside, the palace looks less like a house and more like a private luxury city. Endless corridors lined with Italian marble slabs worth tens of thousands of dollars, each stretch across thousands of rooms. Massive banquet halls host diplomatic events where world leaders gather. There are private cinemas, multiple indoor swimming complexes, landscaped gardens, and entire wings dedicated to royal guests and security teams. Hundreds of staff members operate quietly behind the scenes, making sure the palace functions with the precision of a five-star hotel that never closes. But what truly makes Al Yamama extraordinary is its security. The palace operates almost like a fortified military base. The elite Saudi Royal Guard protects the compound 24 hours a day, supported by advanced surveillance systems and restricted zones integrated with national defense networks. Running security on this level can cost tens of millions of dollars every year, turning what looks like a palace into one of the most protected residences on Earth. For the young princes, this environment defines normal life. Instead of neighborhood playgrounds, they grow up surrounded by private courtyards, custom play complexes, and massive protected gardens inside a compound larger than many small towns. Their childhood unfolds inside walls connected to a dynasty that controls influence over Saudi Aramco, valued at more than $2 trillion, and a sovereign wealth empire managing over $1 trillion in global investments. So, yes, just a small little palace worth billions. The kind of place where the future rulers of one of the most powerful kingdoms in the world quietly grow up. And it makes you wonder, when someone grows up surrounded by this level of wealth and power from day one, how differently do you think they see the world? Let me know what you think in the comments. The gold-plated lifestyle of the future heirs. Step inside the palace, and the scale of luxury surrounding the future heirs becomes almost surreal. Because inside Al Yamama Palace, the lifestyle experienced by Prince Salman, Prince Mashar, and Prince Abdulaziz is not just luxurious, it is engineered on a level that very few people on Earth will ever witness. This is not simply a royal residence filled with expensive furniture. It is an entire ecosystem of wealth designed to operate like a private kingdom within a kingdom. Hundreds of staff members work quietly behind the scenes every single day. Personal chefs, trained in international cuisine, prepare everything from traditional Saudi dishes to Japanese sushi, French haute cuisine, and Italian fine dining. Maintaining a culinary operation of this scale inside a royal compound can cost millions of dollars every year, especially when ingredients are imported from around the world to meet royal standards. For the young princes, this means growing up in a place where the concept of dinner might involve menus that rival the kitchens of the world's best five-star hotels. But food is only a small piece of the story. The palace interior itself feels closer to an ultra-luxury museum than a private residence. Priceless works of art decorate the halls, including pieces associated with the royal family's collection. Among the most famous is Salvator Mundi, the painting attributed to Leonardo da Vinci, purchased in 2017 for approximately $450 million, making it the most expensive artwork ever sold in history. For most people, seeing such a masterpiece would require traveling to the world's greatest museums. For the Saudi royal heirs, it is simply part of the environment they grow up around. Even the children's spaces inside the palace reflect a level of extravagance that feels almost cinematic. Instead of a simple playroom, entire recreational wings are designed specifically for the princes. There are high-tech gaming rooms powered by advanced AI systems, climbing walls, and entertainment areas that resemble private theme parks more than ordinary childhood spaces. Some areas reportedly include large indoor aquariums and marine installations, turning parts of the palace into something closer to a luxury resort. The design philosophy behind these spaces reveals something deeper about royal life at this level of wealth. When your family controls influence over a trillion-dollar sovereign wealth empire and one of the most valuable energy companies on Earth, even childhood environments become reflections of that scale. A normal child might grow up asking for a goldfish. Inside a palace like Al Yamama, the alternative could easily be an entire aquarium ecosystem worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that contrast quietly defines the world these future heirs are growing up in. From priceless artwork, valued in the hundreds of millions, to entertainment spaces that rival luxury resorts, their environment is not just about comfort. It is about growing up surrounded by the symbols of a dynasty whose wealth and influence shape global markets and political power. The $500 million superyachts that function like floating cities. At some point, even a palace the size of 70 football fields stops feeling impressive. Because when your family controls access to trillions of dollars in global energy wealth, the next logical step isn't just living on land, it's taking that lifestyle to the ocean. And that's exactly where another part of the Saudi royal world begins to appear, the superyachts. One of the most famous vessels linked to the royal family is Serene, a floating palace that reportedly cost more than $500 million. Stretching approximately 439 feet in length, Serene isn't just a yacht, it's essentially a private luxury resort drifting across international waters. From the outside, it looks sleek and powerful, but step inside and the scale becomes almost unbelievable. The yacht features 2 helicopter landing pads, allowing guests to arrive directly from private jets or nearby islands without ever touching a commercial airport. But that's only the beginning. Inside, the ship contains an enormous saltwater swimming pool, a full wellness spa, a private cinema, and multiple luxury suites designed to match the comfort of the world's most exclusive hotels. There is even a submarine docking station, allowing guests to explore the ocean beneath them. And perhaps the most surreal feature of all is something called a snow room, a climate-controlled chamber designed to produce freezing temperatures and artificial snow, even when the yacht is cruising through warm tropical waters. Maintaining a vessel like this is almost as expensive as building it. Experts estimate that operating a superyacht valued at $500 million can easily require $40 to $50 million per year in crew salaries, fuel, maintenance, and security. For most billionaires, owning one yacht like this would already represent the ultimate symbol of wealth. But for the Saudi royal family, Serene is only one part of a much larger fleet. Another vessel associated with the family, Pegasus 8, offers a different style of floating luxury. While smaller than Serene, it still carries features that most resorts would envy. There is a helipad, outdoor cinema space, golf driving range, dance floor, and expansive deck areas designed for private events and celebrations. In many ways, these ships function less like boats and more like mobile royal residences capable of traveling anywhere in the world. And this is where the story becomes truly fascinating, because for the young princes growing up inside the Saudi royal family, access to yachts worth hundreds of millions of dollars isn't something they dream about. It's simply part of the environment around them. Vacations don't involve booking hotel suites or beach resorts. Instead, they often unfold aboard floating cities built from the kind of wealth that only a handful of dynasties in modern history have ever controlled. Private jets, flying palaces, and global travel on a massive scale. For most people, flying means standing in airport lines, squeezing into economy seats, and waiting for boarding announcements. But for the sons of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, air travel exists on an entirely different scale. Because in the Saudi royal world, airplanes are not simply transportation, they are flying palaces designed to move power across continents. One of the aircraft, often associated with the royal fleet, is a heavily customized Boeing 747-400, an airplane that in its standard form already costs well over $200 million. But when members of the Saudi royal family transform an aircraft like this, the price can climb dramatically. Inside, the interior is redesigned into something closer to a luxury residence in the sky. There are private bedrooms, formal dining halls, conference rooms, gold-plated bathrooms, and throne-style seating areas designed to host high-level meetings even while cruising at 35,000 feet. Experts estimate that converting a wide-body aircraft into this level of airborne luxury can cost tens of millions of dollars on top of the aircraft's original value. And the 747 is not the only aircraft in the fleet. The family is also linked to Boeing 787 Dreamliners, one of the most advanced long-range jets in the world. A single Dreamliner can cost more than $300 million, depending on customization and equipment. These aircraft allow the royal family to travel between Riyadh, Europe, Asia, or the United States without relying on commercial airlines, turning global travel into something that operates almost like a private transportation network. But the aircraft themselves are only part of the story. What truly reveals the scale of royal travel is what happens around them. When members of the Saudi royal circle travel abroad, the movement can resemble the relocation of an entire city. On some trips, reports describe logistical operations involving over 1,500 personnel, including security teams, advisors, chefs, technical staff, and government officials. The arrival is just as dramatic. Convoys of hundreds of vehicles, sometimes more than 500 limousines, are arranged in advance to transport guests and staff once the aircraft lands. Even luggage becomes a spectacle. On one widely reported royal trip, the traveling entourage reportedly moved more than 56 tons of luggage, enough cargo to fill a small freight operation. For the young princes growing up inside this environment, global travel is not something extraordinary. From an early age, they are surrounded by aircraft worth hundreds of millions of dollars, fleets of vehicles, and logistical operations that move across continents with military precision. It is a childhood shaped by mobility, influence, and the quiet understanding that when the Saudi royal family travels, the world rearranges itself to receive them. The oil empire that created a trillion-dollar dynasty. To really understand why the sons of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman are growing up surrounded by palaces, superyachts, and fleets of aircraft worth hundreds of millions of dollars, you have to go back much further than modern Saudi Arabia. Long before the world associated the kingdom with trillion-dollar wealth, the House of Saud began as a regional power in the deserts of the Arabian Peninsula. In the 18th century, the family ruled parts of the Najd region, collecting tribal tributes and controlling trade routes that crossed the harsh desert landscape. Their influence was real, but their resources were modest by modern standards. The true transformation began in 1902, when Abdulaziz ibn Saud, later known as King Abdulaziz, recaptured Riyadh and began the long process of unifying the Arabian Peninsula. By 1932, he had established the modern Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. At that moment in history, the country was still relatively poor. Its economy relied heavily on pilgrimage revenues, small-scale agriculture, and limited trade. No one yet imagined that beneath the desert sands lay one of the greatest energy fortunes in human history. Everything changed in 1938, when American geologists discovered oil near Dammam. At first, production was small, but as global demand for energy surged after World War II, Saudi oil output began expanding at an extraordinary pace. What followed was one of the most dramatic economic transformations ever recorded. By the early 1970s, Saudi Arabia was already producing millions of barrels of oil per day. Then came the 1973 oil crisis, when OPEC production cuts sent global oil prices soaring. Practically overnight, Saudi oil revenues jumped from roughly $1 billion per year in 1970 to more than $100 billion annually by the end of the decade. But the real turning point came in 1980, when Saudi Arabia completed the nationalization of its oil industry and gained full control of Saudi Aramco. Over the following decades, Aramco grew into the most powerful energy company on earth. Today, its estimated market value has exceeded $2 trillion, making it one of the most valuable corporations in history. The company controls access to more than 260 billion barrels of proven oil reserves, a resource base that continues to shape global energy markets. This is the foundation of the wealth surrounding the Saudi royal family today. The palaces, the aircraft, the yachts, and the billion-dollar investments all trace back to that single discovery beneath the desert in 1938. For the sons of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, growing up in extraordinary luxury is not simply the result of modern success. It is the outcome of an energy empire that has been expanding for nearly a century, transforming a desert kingdom into one of the most financially powerful nations in the world, grooming the future rulers of a $1 trillion global investment empire. If you look closely at the lives of Prince Salman, Prince Mashar, and Prince Abdulaziz, it becomes clear that their childhood is not just about luxury. Yes, they grow up inside palaces worth billions of dollars, travel on aircraft valued at $300 million, and vacation on yachts costing $500 million. But behind all of that extravagance, something much more strategic is quietly happening. These boys are being prepared to one day manage one of the most powerful economic systems on the planet. Their education is not limited to traditional royal schooling. Inside the royal compounds of Riyadh, the princes follow an academic path that blends Islamic scholarship, Arabic heritage, and elite international education. Tutors are often recruited from top institutions around the world, providing instruction in fields that go far beyond typical classroom subjects. They study economics, geopolitics, artificial intelligence, and global finance, learning how modern power operates in a world where influence is measured not just by territory, but by control of capital and technology. But the most important classroom for these future heirs may not actually be a classroom at all. Instead, it is the massive transformation projects currently reshaping Saudi Arabia. One of the most ambitious examples is NEOM, the futuristic megacity rising along the Red Sea coast. The project carries an estimated development value of around $500 billion, making it one of the largest construction projects in human history. Designed to include advanced technology, renewable energy systems, and next-generation urban infrastructure, NEOM represents Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's vision for a Saudi economy that can thrive long after oil. At the center of this transformation stands the Public Investment Fund, often called PIF, the kingdom's sovereign wealth engine. Today, the fund controls assets estimated at more than $1 trillion, with investments stretching across global technology companies, entertainment, sports, renewable energy, and infrastructure. PIF has invested billions in companies such as Uber, major global gaming firms, and even football clubs like Newcastle United, demonstrating how Saudi capital now influences industries far beyond the Middle East. For the young princes, exposure to this system begins early. They are introduced to the mechanics of national projects, global investment strategies, and diplomatic relationships long before they ever hold official power. The expectation is clear. One day, they may inherit not just personal fortunes estimated in the tens of billions of dollars, but influence over economic networks worth trillions. And that changes the meaning of inheritance entirely. Because for these future heirs, the real legacy is not simply wealth, it is learning how to manage the power that comes with it. So here's something worth thinking about. When someone grows up knowing they may one day influence trillion-dollar investment decisions and global energy markets, how do you think that shapes the way they see leadership and responsibility? Let me know what you think in the comments. When you step back from the spectacle of super yachts, flying palaces, and car collections worth tens of millions of dollars, a deeper pattern begins to emerge about how elite power is built in parts of the Middle East and Asia. First, wealth at this level is rarely just about personal comfort. It is about infrastructure for power. Palaces protected by missile defenses, fleets of aircraft, and global properties are tools designed to secure authority and mobility across continents. Second, control over strategic industries creates influence that lasts for generations. With assets tied to Saudi Aramco's trillion-dollar energy empire and the Public Investment Fund's global investments, the next generation inherits not just money, but control over economic systems that shape global markets. Third, succession planning begins early. Education, diplomatic exposure, and real-world involvement in megaprojects are part of preparing heirs to manage a kingdom transforming itself beyond oil. If you enjoy deep dives into the hidden structures behind global wealth and power, consider liking the video and subscribing for more investigations like this. In the next episode, we'll explore the secret trillion-dollar lifestyles of the Gulf's most powerful royal heirs, where the future of global energy and finance is already being shaped.